So I'm posing the question today, is this guy, Massey, an intelligence operative or just the stupidest guy on all of Utah Valley University campus? I don't know the answer to that. I'm gonna look at some evidence. I have my own opinion, of course, pure opinion, formed by looking at this public domain evidence. You're going to get a chance to look at the evidence. You can form your own opinion. It might differ from mine. I was talking to that brick suit guy on DM about this hypothesis that I've put forward that Charlie Kirk was murdered, killed by a projectile coming from I have said an air rifle. I want to sharpen the precision of the hypothesis. It was a PCP gun, a pre-charged pneumatic. It's a particular type of gas gun. I'm not talking about an airsoft, Daisy BB gun that you pump up and shoot at your friends. People are telling me, I'm playing with airsoft. I'm talking about a 50 caliber PCP rifle, or the same thing is available as a handgun. My understanding, and again, I'm not an expert, I'm going to seek out the help of experts to understand this more as time goes on. That's happening little by little, but there's a rifle version of this thing, specifically the B&W M50 is the pistol version that, as far as I understand it, just has a shorter barrel and doesn't have a stock. I believe I'm using those terms correctly. But speaking of experts, before we talk about our friend Massey, we got to talk about another stupid jackass, this clown Gary. Now Gary is a stupid idiot who maybe people have heard of. He's got some operation there called Mini Mount Tactical or Practical Tactical, something stupid, because he's a stupid guy. So basically, most of what he says and does is pretty stupid. He got upset that I called him a Nazi, but the symbols that he uses and the way that he acts causes me to think he could be. I don't know if he is or isn't. Again, evidence that you're going to have to evaluate and make your own opinion. Got into some beef with this stupid clown a little over a year ago as a result of the Butler, PA assassination investigation. I didn't even really remember what the beef was. I thought he was, I knew he was beefing with me and Cullen, whatever. It's a YouTube rivalry. But I just figured, now that I've put this hypothesis out there in the world, I'm looking for experts in various fields who can challenge it, because I'm not here saying, I'm right, I have to be right. I'm saying, look, when I talk about empirical evidence, people need to understand the words. I try to speak precisely. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but my understanding of the word empirical is that I've made scientific measurements, things that other people can test. I've basically stated what the process is that I've gone through to make those measurements. And certainly if anybody has any questions about that process, we can evaluate it. I didn't just, put my finger up and say, oh, the lapel pin exploded and that was the deal. This is a scientific evaluation of the available evidence. And so I've put forward this challenge where I'm saying anybody in any field who can refute these empirical elements of evidence, these hypothetical, and I mean that in terms of a hypothesis, these things that I've come to from examining the evidence, if someone can disprove those also using science, not saying, Chris Martinson said this, so you're wrong, give me $100, or I have an air rifle and I shoot myself with it and nothing happens. That's not an empirical measurement. Like, you're going to have to demonstrate or otherwise prove how what I'm saying is factually false. Some other idiot said, oh, well, you're wrong because these cameras don't shoot at thousands of frames per second, and so they can't stop a bullet in air. So to be specific, to sharpen this hypothesis, I'm talking about, I believe, a 50 caliber pre-charged pneumatic pistol or rifle. And it's my understanding that, in particular, this B&W M50 can fire a round like that at 500 feet per second. Now, someone's going to be able to calculate, see, like, for instance, Gary, the stupid clown that he is, definitely knows a lot more about bullets and muzzle velocities and how many grains a particular caliber, like, I don't know the difference between all that stuff. So there might be some amount of error in the things that I'm saying about that, but fundamentally what I'm saying is this type of weapon was used, and there are certain things I'm quite sure of. The 500 feet per second is pretty close. Now, if you come and say, oh no, it was 523 feet per second, not 527, that doesn't count. In other words, you've got to prove what I'm saying is wrong and have substantial scientific evidence to back it up. And also, you know, people are like, all right, I'll take that bet. It's not a bet. I guess it could be seen as a bounty. I mean, you know, this is like I'm putting out a call. If this were a newspaper and I needed to photograph J. Jonah Jameson, we've got, you know, New York City in the background there. He used to say, I'll pay anyone $500 for a picture of Spider-Man. And Peter Parker would say, whoa, that's a good way for me to make money. And he would set up his camera and go out and do Spider-Man stuff and sell pictures to the Daily Bugle. Obviously that's fictional, but that's what I'm saying. I'm looking for information. Someone who can refute what I'm saying will win the bounty. And so what I'm doing today is I'm going to increase that bounty because I am so sure that the things that I'm talking about cannot be refuted. And see, back to Gary, the sad clown, moron that he is, I had contacted him by DM last night, and I basically sent him my interview from Redacted, and I do want to thank Clayton and Natalie for having me on there. It was a great opportunity for me. I think the interview went very well. I appreciate their professionalism, and a lot of people have been watching it, and most people, overwhelmingly, have been telling me that they think this is the best theory that they've heard. It makes sense. It explains things. Now, there are some people who don't know what I'm talking about. I get it. I'm going to keep explaining it because it is complicated. Then there are people who are trolls, who are just trying to misdirect people, I would say deliberately. And then there are idiots. So I sent Gary a direct message, including this redacted interview, thinking that he's probably going to see it anyway, but I sent it to him and I said, look, we should have a civil conversation about this, thinking, as I've said a few times, I don't need to be friends with the guy to have a discussion or a debate. And in fact, there was something appealing to me about the concept of having a debate with somebody who doesn't personally care for me, because then I know that, you know, I could discuss this with Charles or whatever, and he's got a predisposition to be nice to me and maybe even tend to agree, particularly about subjects maybe where he doesn't know that much, like video and stuff like that. Whereas somebody like Gary, braggadocious, stupid fucking asshole that he is, cowardly fuck and moron, I wouldn't say all this if he hadn't acted the way that he did yesterday, because I sent him a DM saying, let's have a civilized conversation about this, and he immediately started putting provisos on that, caveats. He said, well, if you publicly apologize for calling me a Nazi, we'll do that. And I said, you know, fine. I have no problem with that. I don't have any direct evidence that he's a member of the German National Socialist Party. I had said those things about him because he acts like such a fucking asshole and puts tattoos and logos all over his stupid bullshit that look like Nazi imagery to me. And he acts like a fucking Nazi. So I said that. And he said, oh, you're putting my family in danger. And then I said, now you sound more like a Democrat and a pussy. Because that's the bullshit that Nina Jankowicz said. When I called her out for defying the First Amendment, she said, oh no, you can't do news reporting accusing me of breaking the law because it's putting my family in danger. And then she went and lied to the police, and she lied to the court, and she got a restraining order against me. Gary, do you know when that illegal restraining order based on lies was brought against me, I couldn't hold a firearm for 2 years. Now, I didn't own any at the time. I think you do. And when that restraining order was put on me by a court, one of the provisions in it was that I had to turn in all firearms to, I guess, the NYPD, maybe the Virginia PD, because it was in Virginia. But I didn't have any. What would happen to Gary if the courts and the police told him that he couldn't touch a firearm for 2 years? Because that fucking moron actually violated New York statute and probably federal statute by making threats of real violence against me. I never made any threats against Nina, and she admitted that in court. So it doesn't make any sense that the judge found this judgment against me, and there's actually an appeal right now in the Virginia Court of Appeals. We'll see if I can get that unconstitutional restraining order overturned. It actually doesn't matter because it's over now. I can purchase firearms now. I just don't like it that Nina was able to get over on me with bullshit, and I don't like the judge. So I'm intent on proving them wrong. But Gary is a fucking stupid idiot, because through the wires of the internet, he sent me specific threats of real harm. It's a bold violation of multiple statutes. He's super stupid. But I don't care about Gary. We're not going to deal with him right now. He's a fucking moron, and I would have apologized to him if he didn't take my good faith DMs offering a détente and blast them all over the internet, where he claimed that he had debunked what he said was my claim that there was a shooter on the first floor of the American Glass Research Building. I never said that. I said someone was operating a laser inside the first floor of the American Glass Research Building. And again, I had empirical, scientifically derived, measured, reproducible evidence that indicated that. And no one has ever proven that wrong. I should have put a $1,000 bounty on that. And that's what I'm going to do today. 1,000 of my dollars will be paid to anyone who can present scientifically derived, measurable, empirical evidence that my hypothesis about Charlie Kirk getting shot from behind by some sort of round, very probably a .50 caliber pre-charged pneumatic projectile, moving at approximately 500 feet per second, photographed at 240 frames per second, with a very short exposure time, probably 1/10,000th of a second or 1/20,000th of a second, something in between those two, maybe 1/15,000th of a second. Look at how young this child is vending. That's not what you're supposed to be doing with your kids in Central Park. But you know, it's not going to be like, oh, it was 1/12,000th of a second shutter speed, give me the $1,000. You have to prove that I'm fundamentally wrong, that the shot came from somewhere else, not behind him in that tunnel, not from this pre-charged pneumatic rifle or pistol, not moving at approximately 500 feet per second, and not photographed at 240 frames per second. And that brings us back to the primary idiot we're talking about today. Gary comes in second in the contest of idiots today. That's how stupid that fucking knuckle-dragging moron is. Coward, coming at me on the internet when I'm trying to be a nice person. Just a terrible guy. No, but we're talking now about this stupid idiot, Samir Massey. Now, he came to my attention because, now wait, do I have a video of this? Yes, I think I do. Let me show everybody how he came to my attention. Yeah, here it is. I had done a Twitter thread, it was a thread about this stooge. People can see on JG_CSTT where I'm crazy shadow banned. I think because this information is correct. You can see it says they put a warning on there. So we know that days ago, Blake Bednar's, perhaps the runner-up in the contest of idiots today, he got this video from the UVU review. Now, Utah Valley University, there's our friend Samir Massey. We see his name on this article. ABC News tells us. Charlie Kirk shooting visual timeline, and that's where I got Samir Massey's name from. It's listed on this video that's saying that he took the video. And then ABC News Australia, they did a whole radio interview with him. I won't play it here, but people can go find that online. He's talking about how they had a pizza party and he had his lunch and then he went outside, and because he works for the school newspaper, he had such a good view and he took this video, and then he had the presence of mind to go back inside because he understands the building and he wanted to help everybody get out of there. People can read that thread. Go follow me on X at JG_CSTT. If you can't find that, you might have to type in www.x.com/JG_CSTT because I'm super shadow banned. Or you could also follow my alternate account there at Jason Goodman, NYC. And don't forget, you can sponsor the show by subscribing only on the JG X account. You can't subscribe to the other one, but you could also support the show on crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com. You could go to subscribestar.com or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. I do appreciate people who are sponsoring the show, and I really do need your support to continue this work. I can't do it without the support of viewer sponsors. But back to Samir, I saw his name there. ABC News said this guy shot the video of interest, the video that I allege was shot at 240 frames per second. Looks like on an iPhone to me, looks like at a high bit rate, 150 megabits per second, something like that, because the output that we've seen from it looks very, very good. Someone with a high degree of skill, or at least some knowledge of how to handle video, was putting out a 20 frame per second version that got sent to Zeb Boykin, and a 30 frame per second version that also got sent to Zeb Boykin. Zeb did not remember where the 20 frame per second version came from. I get it. He's got lots of people coming at him, lots of unknown, anonymous users sending all kinds of stuff. It's tricky. But anyway, everybody knows how I derived this mathematical formula. I looked at the videos. The 20 frame per second motion was smooth. It didn't look like optical flow had been applied. It didn't look like an uneven number of frames had been dropped, or 10 out of every 30. It didn't look like that. It didn't have the motion judder of an improperly output thing. It looked like it was derived from some sort of evenly divisible operation done to a higher frame rate video. And the fact that we had a 20 frame per second video that looked like that and a 30 frame per second video that looked like that, I said to myself, this thing must have originated either from a 60 frame per second video, a 120 frame per second video, or a 240 frame per second video, and other factors caused me to surmise that it was 240 frames per second. So back to Samir, because ABC News said that he shot that video. ABC News US has his name on it. So some journalist got that video and attributed it to him. How did they do that? I don't know. But also ABC News Australia, are those things affiliated? Again, I don't know. But they spoke to the guy. They've got his voice recorded, and he's speaking in a radio interview of some kind. He explains this whole deal about the pizza party. Should have invited this guy. He could use some free pizza. Anyway, Samir is full of shit is the problem. And that raises a lot of questions. Why would someone lie and potentially implicate themselves in an ongoing murder investigation? It seems like an extremely risky thing to do. Now, you're saying, well, but Jason, how do you know he lied? How can you accuse the guy of lying? Well, again, we have irrefutable evidence, and we're going to look at it. It convinces me that he's lying. I would bring it into court and use it to convict him on a lie. And I do believe he also, in a way that is equally stupid to Gary, congratulations, Samir, you are the winner of today's idiot contest. He committed fraud. He attempted to induce me into sending him $250, and he also used the wires of the internet, interstate commerce. These are federal crimes. You can't do this stuff. You shouldn't be allowed to. Now, whether or not anyone will actually prosecute these morons, that remains to be seen. But let's have a look at this, because I started contacting Samir on TikTok. I found him on TikTok. They gave his name. I think it might have even given his TikTok address, or he was pretty easy to find on TikTok, and you can message people on TikTok. Okay, so I contacted our man Samir. Now wait a minute, do I have this video in there? Let me make sure I've got the right video loaded for everybody. Here it is. I just opened politely asking him, would it be possible to speak with you? I'm trying to obtain original video files from the Charlie Kirk shooting for forensic analysis. And right away he comes with, what's the offer? I was a little surprised by that, honestly. I said, I don't have a specific offer in mind. I'm trying to find people who have recorded the event and are willing to provide the original files from their phone. Once a video gets uploaded to YouTube, X, TikTok, or whatever, it gets transcoded and the quality is reduced, making forensic evaluation much more difficult. Do you have original footage that you recorded, or do you know people who do? What sort of offer are you looking for? And then I guess he wasn't responding, so I wrote back and said, you may have seen Adam Bartholomew provided his video, and I conducted an investigation that located several items which I believe are drones. I even showed him the TikTok videos, so, you know, he could have discerned who I was. Crowdsource, the truth, all this is here. This is all happening September 27th, 9 o'clock at night. Nothing from him. So 6 p.m. the next day, I say hi again. Do you have any videos from the event or know anyone who does? He's back with, what is the offer? Next day, I said, I don't understand what you're asking me. I'm trying to determine if you have original videos of the shooting, and if so, what videos you have. Why don't you tell me what you have and what you want, and we will determine if we can arrive at a satisfactory offer. This is now, you know, days are going by here, and this dope, he just can't answer a question. So I then say, are you able to tell me if you have original videos? None of your posts on TikTok seem to match what I'm looking for. Nothing. For days. October 2nd now. I'm looking for the original video credited to you in this ABC News article. That's the video that I think is the 240 frame per second video. It's the thumbnail today. It's got his name on it. So I said, did you shoot this on your iPhone? And I give him the link. There's nothing. So I said, would $100 be acceptable? And he says, ha, ha, ha. He's laughing at $100. That's not nearly enough for the very important Samir Massey. So tell me what you want. Do you have that video? Did you shoot it? Nothing. I ask him, may I call you so we can negotiate something reasonable? I have no idea what you have or what it is you want in exchange. He says, sure. What video you're looking for. Now, I just told this idiot what video I'm looking for, right here. So is he stupid, or is he playing a game? The one with your name on it, in the ABC News video. I mean, this is supposed to be the most important video of the whole event. What is he playing stupid for? It shows Charlie in profile in the entire tent at the moment he was shot. What is your phone number? May I call you now? And he says, what video are you asking exactly? $250 he wants. It's the one from the ABC News article that has your name on it. I do not know how to send you a screen capture here on TikTok. You can't attach images. Can I call you? $250 would be okay if you have the video I'm talking about. Do you have PayPal? He says, Venmo. Send the one you're referring. So I've already sent him the ABC News. It's like, come on, this guy knows he was on ABC News. So I couldn't figure out how to send him a screen capture. I did a screen capture and I uploaded it to Google Drive. And then I sent him the link on Google Drive and I said, this is a screen capture from the video I'm talking about. Is this your video? ABC News has your name on it. Did you record this on an iPhone or some other phone? Do you own the video? And he says, yes. But I'm not giving you the ownership. So he's answering yes to my question, Did you record this on an iPhone or some other phone, and do you own the video? I believe this is a fraudulent representation made over the wires of the internet. That could be a federal crime. I'm not a lawyer, but he says he uses Venmo. He's very interested in getting paid, this stupid idiot, but he can't answer a simple question. I do not seek to own the rights, but I need to see the metadata from the original file. I'm doing a forensic evaluation of all the original videos I can get. So I need to confirm that you are the original videographer and that you own the video. Is that screen capture from your video? He says, which one? I mean, is this guy retarded? It's like Abbott and Costello with this schmuck. I'm playing Who's On First. So I say this one, and I send him the same screen capture again. We're October 3rd here now. And I'm telling him, can we get on the phone tomorrow to straighten this out? I need to know what you have before I send you the money. By the way, at this point, I realize, a college kid wanting money, wouldn't he just acknowledge this screen capture and say, okay, well, let's do this deal, get the money, I'll send you the video? So I say, can we get on the phone? I need to know what you have before I send you money. He keeps talking about Venmo. Can we please get this done today? I'm telling him now at 7 o'clock in the morning on October 3rd. Can you confirm that you shot the video in the screenshot I've sent you a third time? I'm sending him the screenshot. Nothing. 10 a.m. I figured he's awake. 10:45. It's 8:45 in Utah. Samir, can you please send me your phone number so we can speak for just 5 minutes and sort this out? I would like to pay you, but I need to confirm that you have the video that I'm looking for. Says nothing. Then at, what is this? 1:45, I say hello. He says hi. I mean, is this stupid or what? So I say, so can you confirm that the video you have is the video I keep sending you a screenshot of? And he says, can you send screenshot? Okay. So, I mean, I know I'm either dealing with a moron or at this point, even if he is a moron, morons know how to get money. This guy's obviously playing a game and wasting my time. And I say, I do not see how I can do that within this app. I have sent you a link to this screenshot 4 times now. Do you not see that? Here it is again. Give him the screenshot again. Can we get this done today? I'm surprised by the difficulty we're having communicating here. Are you serious about doing this transaction? Do you have the video I'm asking for? Can you send me your phone number so we can cut through this confusion? It seems like the type of thing somebody who wants money would do. And I said, I would like to send you the money, but I need to confirm that you have the video I want. And he says, okay, send the video. I mean, I'm just I would slap this guy if I was in the same room with him. So he says, what are you talking about? How do you intend me to send you a video? Samir, what is your phone number? You are the one who is going to send me a video. I'm trying to determine if you have the video I want. Do you want this money or no? Why are you being so difficult? Can you just send me a phone number to call you on so we can straighten this out? We've been back and forth for days. So he gives me this phone number. I've blanked it out for this video because I don't want to dox the guy. Samir?
Hello.
Hey, Samir. How are you? It's Jason Goodman. Is the guy from TikTok? I've been talking to you about getting that video from the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Yeah.
So did you see the screen capture? I sent you a URL to a Google Drive with the screen capture a few times in that TikTok message.
Yeah.
Is that the video that you have?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and you're the original person who recorded it, right? You didn't download it from somebody. It's not just something you got from the internet, right?
Yeah, but what do you want to do with my video?
What do I want to do with it? I want to examine it. I want to look at it and see any details that are in there. I'm just studying the assassination.
Okay, cool. I'm going to think about it and I'm going to send you the video.
Okay, but think about it. What do you mean? I mean, we do it right now unless there's a reason you don't want to send it.
I'll think about it because I'm also talking to some other people, and whatever deal I like it, I'll send it.
Okay, I tell you what. Let me ask you to do one thing. Can you open the video in QuickTime Player or something where there's a properties window, and open the video, open the properties window, just take one screen capture of any frame at all in the video. I just want to see the properties window that shows that it was recorded on, file created on September 10th, and the data rate and all of that stuff, so that you and I can both trust each other that you're the original recorder of the video and this is the original
Well,
file.
I'm not doing anything for free. So if I'm sending anyone the video,
I don't want the video. This is just to confirm that you have the proper video. I just want a screen capture.
well, I do know because you don't have to, you don't. I'm literally talking to other people. And I'm thinking to do with them, like the deal. But if you are like not sure, that's fine.
No, I'm sure. I just need to make sure, first of all, the video can be sent to any number of people. I'm not going to have any kind of exclusive access to it. I just want to make sure. You and I don't know each other, and it's taken us 4 days to get on the phone. I just want to make sure you have what you're telling me that you have. I'm asking you for the property.
Yeah.
How about no images from the video? Just give me a screen capture of the properties window. How's that sound?
Okay, cool.
So can I give you an email address to send it to?
Yeah, you can email the message on my TikTok messages.
I'll send you the email address, and what I want you to do is I want you to take a screen capture of this video, the properties window, and send it. But how am I going to know it's from this video if you don't show me at least one frame from the video with the properties window open? What could I do with one frame? Just open the video, open the properties window, take a screen capture and say, here's the properties window for this video. It's my video. Here's the creation date. Here's the data rate. Here's all the information about the video. Then you can decide. I don't even know what I'm getting from you for me to negotiate with you, and you can sell it to whoever else you want. I don't need any kind of exclusive access to it. I just want to make sure it is what you're representing it to be. It took us a long time to even understand that we were talking about the same video, right?
Well, I was the first one to record everything on campus because I was the first one to upload a TikTok video on my channel.
I understand, but there's a lot of different videos, and I want to make sure we're talking about the same video. So I've just sent you my email address, okay? It's jasongoodman.com. I sent it to you there in TikTok. Please open the video, open the properties panel, take a screen capture of one frame of the video. You can even, any frame you want. The first frame of the video where nothing is happening at all, that I can't do anything with, that's already been released in ABC News. I just want to see that this is the properties panel for the video that we're talking about, that the creation date is the proper time, that the data rate indicates it's an original non-transcoded video, because I'm trying to do a forensic analysis of all this evidence. So it can't be, uploaded to TikTok and downloaded later and sent to YouTube, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You do a lot of video work. You understand what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you do that tonight, please, Samir? Because I'm really trying to work on this. And I'll pay you right away. If you and I can arrive at a deal, you can decide if you want to sell it to me. You can sell it to me and somebody else. Do whatever you want. I'm not going to stop you from doing anything.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks. I mean, so what do people think? Is this the dumbest guy anybody has witnessed in at least a week? I mean, we're not talking about a 1978 Lamborghini. He could sell this digital video to 50 people if he wants to. I'm just trying to determine if he actually has it or not. And he won't even get to it. So, look, it was pretty obvious to me by that point that he was playing a game. I think that even an opportunistic, low morality schmuck who's trying to make money off of the death, off of Charlie Kirk, and people say, oh, well, Jason, you're trying to make money off the death of Charlie Kirk. No, I'm not. I'm trying to make a living as a journalist, which I understand that this guy might be too, which is why I was willing to offer him $250. But then, that's the first thing he's asking about. He doesn't say, yeah, here's proof that I have the video. I mean, Adam Bartholomew, he was very forthcoming right away. I've said this before. Anytime you call up somebody that you don't know, there's a reasonable expectation that it will take a moment or two, an email back and forth, to establish that you're a good faith operator, like with Gary, the moron. See, I sent him a private message because I didn't feel the need to publicly challenge him or embarrass him, and I wanted to offer him the opportunity to decline the offer without making a big deal out of it if he wasn't interested in talking to me. But instead of taking me up on my good faith offer, that small brain moron, Gary, he decided he would razz me And he would say, oh, I disproved Goodman's theory. I debunked his theory. Gary is a stupid idiot. But back to Samir, who's also a stupid idiot. Let's listen to the follow-up call. So after that phone call, I sent him my email address.
Sorry, the email
waited a
exchange
little
that-
while, hoping he would
TikTok.
send me, you know, the screenshot with the properties inspector. You know, this is a college kid. He doesn't want $250. He doesn't want to send me a screenshot. It would take 2 seconds. So I'm waiting. I tell him, I'll send you $350 if we can do this tonight, but I need to know you have the video I'm looking for and that it is the original video. Please email me the screen capture of one video frame with the properties window open. Nothing, right? More hour and a half goes by. I say, hey man, are you sure you really have this video? I obviously can't send a stranger this much money without the proof that you have what I'm asking for. Can you please email me a screen capture of the properties window and the Venmo account you want the money to go to? If you prove to me that you actually have this video, I will pay you tonight. I do not understand why this is taking days and days. Then he says, it's okay. You can find the real owner of the video. So I said, I thought you said you were the real owner. He said, I never said I wasn't, but you can go find the real owner if you think I'm not. And I just said, I'm trying to pay you. Why won't you send me the proof that you have the thing? Why are you acting like this? And then he says, sorry, I'm not interested in working with you, I guess is what he means. Thanks. And I said, that's been clear 4 days. And he says, you can find the real owner, and once you're not able to do it, ask a question to yourself why News Channel would give me the credit. I mean, this is a person in college, and isn't English first language if you're in India? This guy is an idiot. So I just let him know, I assure you I will, and that's what we're in the process of doing now. I mean, I think people can form their own opinion, but obviously the opinion that I've formed is that this is an unscrupulous, unintelligent individual. And again, you don't have to be intelligent to know how to make a simple transaction like this. You've got something that I want. I'm asking for reasonable elements to prove. This is like if the guy says, hey, I'm selling a car, and I say, well, send me a picture of it. And he says, no, I'm not doing anything for free. You won't even say, I can't drive a photograph of a car. I'm not gonna have the video if you send me a screen capture that shows the properties inspector. But what he did know, I suspect, is that a screenshot of the properties inspector would reveal the date. The creation date should say something like 12/21, 12/22, something like that. September 10th, 2025. And it would tell me the data rate, 10 megabits per second, 140 megabits per second, whatever it is. And it would tell me the frame rate. So if he does have the original video and it is 240 frames per second, that's a good reason why he might not want to send it to me. Or conversely, if he doesn't have the original video and he's just some stupid putz who's a stand-in for whoever created the original video, then he also wouldn't be able to provide the properties inspector frame capture that I was asking him for. But I think anybody who doesn't even understand what I'm talking about in terms of frame rates, properties inspectors, screen captures, you don't have to understand any of that to understand when you're being lied to by a moron. But even if you say, oh, Jason, you know, you think he's lying, but you don't know, that's not proof, that's not evidence, that's suspicion. Well, I would argue that it is circumstantial evidence. Might not be his fingerprints on something, but let's look at more conclusive evidence, because remember, he said he was the first one on campus to record anything. What is he talking about? If people were recording at 12:23 p.m. when Charlie was shot, everybody recorded that simultaneously. Is that a Freudian slip, suggestive that he's aware that there was some sort of Bluetooth low energy exploit in play and that he and others would be the only people who would have recordings of this that could be released? I don't know. Now we're trying to read the tea leaves and read between the lines of what he's actually saying. But it was an interesting thing to say. I'm the only person on campus. What do you say? I was the first person on campus to record anything. What the hell are you talking about, Samir? This guy's a moron, you know? It's like, have you ever had college interns working for your company? Or there's that scene in, what's the movie called? Wise Guys? Where he tells them, listen, I want you to take the $2,000, put it on the number 2 horse in the second race to win. Shouldn't be hard to remember, even for a fucking stew-nod like this. Jeez. Anyway, but he lied. He lied. He said, I should have put the Australian news thing on here, but people can look up ABC News Australia, Samir Massey, and listen to him say, we were having a pizza party and I had my free lunch and then I went outside, and because I work for the school newspaper or the school media thing or whatever, I had a clear shot and I, you know, good angle on Charlie Kirk, and I started recording. And then I was shocked that he was, you know, shot, or something to that effect, that he's outside at the right time in the right place. And because he has whatever kind of access he has, and then he added to that interview that because he knows the building, he had the presence of mind to go back inside to help people navigate their way out of the building. That was his, a little too verbose, in my opinion, explanation to the Australian ABC News. You know, one of these methinks thou doth protest too much. I find, and admittedly this is opinion, not evidence, but I find when somebody sometimes gives you too much of a detailed explanation about something, and I think everybody knows what I mean, it sort of sounds like something that they came up with and that they're planning to kind of sell you a story, rather than when something happens and you get an authentic recount of the incident from somebody. Anyway, he tells this whole complicated story about how he's outside when Charlie is shot, and he records that on his phone. And then he immediately comes inside to help everybody run out. Now remember, Samir Massey is, I think, 22 or something like that. He's a 20-year-old idiot in college. And, you know, these Gen Z zombies have been walking around their whole lives looking at things on screens like this. They didn't go to the cinema. They didn't experience, you know, widescreen Panavision Ultra 70. They don't remember when NTSC 4x3 VHS tapes became widescreen HD. And by the way, the widescreen format that we're using to watch this video right now, that's the way your vision and your brain works. You have a wider field of view than it is tall. That's how human psychology and human vision works. That's why they invented all those widescreen cinema formats. So I'm not necessarily criticizing it. I'm just noticing that there is a certain type of videographer, 22-year-old moron, who's always shooting vertical video. And Samir is one of those morons. Why did he decide after the pizza party to suddenly switch to the ultra wide screen, 240 frame per second? Why didn't he shoot it in 3D, Samir? You should have called me up. We could have had a whole, you know, fancy stereoscopic setup there. Could only go to 120 frames per second. That's why he needed 240. Now, but I'm speculating now. Let's look at the evidence, because on Samir's own Facebook page, we could see Turning Point. We could see inside, that guy's wearing a Turning Point shirt. We could see inside the building, Samir is in there. And people run in, they're losing their minds, and he says, what's happening? Let's watch his own stupid vertical video and everybody can see. Go, 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 go. That's his voice. Go, go, go. Sir, go. Run. Please go. Wait. Go. Sir.
Get out.
What's happening though?
Someone shot.
He's clearly surprised. He says, what's happening? He didn't know.
It's okay.
So Samir is a dunce, and he's just got caught in a lie. He claims he was outside. Charlie Kirk got shot. Those people run inside. Someone is screaming evacuate. I don't know, is this guy a student or a TA or something? I guess he works for, UVU Review. I don't know exactly what his status was. You could be a student and an employee, but he's sort of in there. He said he works for the school media, whatever. So he's in there doing his media stuff, and, some teacher or administrator, whoever that was, yelling evacuate, tells everybody to get out. He gets on board and says, yeah, everybody get out, but what's happening though? Has no idea. So how could he have just recorded a video of Charlie Kirk getting murdered and not understand what's going on? I mean, this is kind of like a Perry Mason moment, or if you're of a different generation, maybe it's the moment where the lawyer for the Brady Bunch throws down the books in court, and the guy who's trying to sue Alice whips his neck around and proves that he's faking the neck injury, and they win the case. He's just been caught in a lie. And look, I'm not doing it to be like, ha ha, gotcha. This raises an incredibly important question. Why is this guy so squirrely around this video that seems critical to understanding what happened in this Charlie Kirk assassination? Why would he lie? You might say, well, he wanted to be on the news, he wants $250 from Jason, but he didn't. He had an opportunity to get $350. I said, look, if you do this tonight, I'll pay you $350. He could have said $500, and I would have said, fine, send me the screen capture with the properties, and I'll get you the $500. That, by the way, that would have been shrewd negotiating by a scumbag. But he could have gotten $500 from me. Could have tried it at least. I think he was just buying time, wasting time. That's what I think. But I don't need to form an opinion about his own video. The music is not calming the savage beasts. If the dogs don't like your music, that's a bad sign. That guy's a little chaotic with the percussion over there. But anyway, Samir, what are you doing? Why would someone associate themselves with critical evidence related to a murder? Maybe he's really, really dumb. Maybe he's really dumb. Maybe he's not an intelligence operative from a foreign country. Maybe he's just a stupid 22-year-old kid. I don't know. Could be both. He's definitely stupid. There's little doubt in that. The question that remains to be answered is, did someone put him up to doing this? Why did ABC News say it was his video? I mean, I guess they weren't as concerned with the forensic details. Somebody came to them and said, hey, I recorded this video. Why didn't they say, hey, that's interesting, Samir. Why is every single other video associated with you on the internet vertical, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, but this one you went horizontal? Why? I would say even that is potentially suggestive that he might have known. What did you mean when you said, I was the first one on campus to record everything? What did you mean? Samir, are you the guy who sold the UVU review video from the telephoto lens that Chris Martenson spoke about and said this looks like the, what did he call it? The cavitation, that puffing that I say is motion blur of the shirt becoming disrupted by a .50 caliber round fired from a pre-charged pneumatic rifle or pistol that penetrates Charlie's neck from behind, destroys his brain stem. This is where we need doctors to come in. It's because you see, again, if I say brain stem and some doctor says, oh no, it was his spinal cord, that doesn't count as refuting what I'm saying. I don't claim to be a doctor. I heard Chris Martenson say Charlie went into some kind of pose immediately, and neurosurgeons that he's speaking to tell him that that means that there was some immediate, tremendous traumatic brain injury, and they were trying to figure out how that could have happened if the thing went through his chest, did all this other stuff that he was explaining, and then hit his brain. He couldn't understand how that was happening. What I'm saying is a low muzzle velocity projectile fired from this pre-charged pneumatic gun immediately struck the brainstem by entering just below the base of his skull. It deflected downward off of the, what is it, the scapula? I don't know, what is that bone? Occipital, I think, is what it is. Scapula is something else. I'm not a doctor, but it deflected downward off his skull about 19 degrees and popped out the front of his throat where it caught in his shirt. Now, people are saying, oh, that's ridiculous. You think a bullet got stopped by a shirt? No, I think a bullet got stopped by ripping through his neck, tendons, part of his brain, his larynx, his throat, the skin on the front of his neck, and by the time it made it out the front, it was so depleted of kinetic energy that it just had enough to stretch out his shirt in this very acute, like this, stretched, and then it relaxed, and that fast motion of it stretching created a puff that looks under 1/60th of a second exposure time from the UVU review camera. That looked like smoke to people for one frame, but smoke doesn't dissipate in one frame. If there was smoke from an exploding tie clasp or microphone, whatever, an exploding DJI Mic 2 or Mic 3 magnetic lavalier microphone, that smoke would stick around for a while. Chris Martenson spoke about this. I agreed with him on this. The exploding pagers left burn marks and chemical stains and smoke. How do we have an exploding DJI microphone and no stains? And then people say, well, he didn't even bleed because there was no blood on his shirt. Look, I can't explain that. We didn't see a lot of video of the shirt. He started bleeding, he fell down to the ground, and then we don't really see too much detail on the shirt after that. Maybe there was blood on the shirt. I saw a lot of blood coming out of his neck. Again, that's a question for doctors, trauma surgeons. I'm just explaining what's on the video. And it's 240 frames per second with a very short exposure time, 1/15,000th of a second, something like that. That's how we're seeing 3 frames of a bullet traveling about 2.08 feet in 1/240th of a second, frozen in air by a very short exposure time. That is the scientifically explained explanation for what we're looking at there. We got this big street fair in Times Square. It's kind of a mess. Actually, you know what? They had San Gennaro going on down in Little Italy. I usually like to go to that, but I didn't get a chance to. I don't know if it's still going. I'm not going to be able to make it there today. It's too far. There's a lot of junk over here. So yeah, I don't know, Samir. I think he's in a lot of trouble, to tell you the truth. I think he's involved with this somehow. You know, and I said from the beginning, there's a media angle to this. Samir works for the college, what do we even call this? Is the newspaper, the news station, the YouTube channel? It's all of that stuff. He works for it. And if this was an operation that was going to happen at the college, people say this college has connections to the intelligence world. I don't know. I don't have that firsthand information. I did see that CAI, they released some kind of statement. They scrubbed all kinds of people from their website. I think it's pretty well known that intelligence agencies recruit operatives, whatever, from colleges. So he's 22. I mean, if somebody were in the military or a military intelligence agency, when do they go in there? 18. So by the time you're 22, you could have been active for a little while in something like that. He's pretty stupid for an intelligence operative, but you know, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, he's pretty stupid for a dishwasher, if you want my personal opinion. He's just stupid. I'm surprised he's got enough brain power to keep his autonomic nervous system going, but you know, we have several examples of that. Gary, for example. Here, there's TikTok. Advertising right there. I don't know, that's Samir. That's his story. I really don't understand why somebody would break federal laws. See, and then, so that takes my thinking to George and his brother, because they have repeatedly violated federal laws, I allege, based on evidence that also hasn't been refuted. A lot of people are telling me, oh, you know, George, people should go look at George, and people are telling George's viewers to go look at me. Anyone who thinks that George Webb is anything other than a moron and a liar should ask him to present the pro se filing receipt from ECF number 12 in Swigert versus CNN. He will fail to produce it, because that's another piece of evidence that if he had it, he would show it, and he wouldn't have to make up lies about me. I'm not making up lies about him. I'm telling people the truth based on verifiable facts. If he has that receipt, let's see it, because that would disprove my allegation that he filed a forged document in court, and he hasn't been able to do that. What the hell is going on over here? I don't want to go in there. That's a quagmire. We'll circumvent that. Some sort of Indian celebration. Holy cow. To some extent, New York City stuns the senses. It's a lot for some people, I get it. But look, that's the deal. If people want to participate in this bounty, this offer that I am making, again, as if I was putting out a call for freelance journalism, the way to do it is send any amount that you want to paypal.me/crowdsource the truth. You could match my $100. You could put in $10,000. Maybe you're rich and you want to do that. But here's what's going to happen. This is going to be the $1,000 30-day challenge. So what day is today? October 4th. Okay, on November 4th, is that 30 days? Whatever it is, 30 days. If someone, anyone, can come forward and disprove these empirically measured scientific facts, it's a fact, there's a dot there. Someone says, how do you know that somebody didn't put that dot there with visual effects? It's a fair question. We don't know that, but in order to prove my hypothesis wrong, you will need to prove that. Show us a version of that video that is proven to be the original video, in that the creation date will be September 10th, 2025. A person will come forward, says, I recorded that on my iPhone. By the way, there are going to be pictures of whoever was standing there. We've already identified a photographer in the crowd. Someone is going to know, was Samir standing there or not? I mean, maybe they don't know Samir personally, but there's going to be some other view that shows the crowd. I mean, there's a guy literally snapping photos. But the point is, you need to disprove what I'm saying and prove with stronger evidence that something other than a shot from behind from an approximately 50 caliber. I could be wrong about the caliber. Is it 45? Is it this many grains, that many grains? I don't claim to be a bullet expert. I'm just saying there's a projectile that's going at approximately 500 feet per second. That is measured by the fact that it had to be recorded at 240 frames per second. That's why we see 3 frames of the projectile. And people say, well, no, it's moving away. Even John Cullen, what the fuck are you doing, John? For days you've been saying, no, it's moving away from Charlie. Why don't you call me and say, hey, Jason, I don't understand what you're saying. I've known you for 8 years and you're diligent with evidence and video analysis. Why don't you explain to me, like I'm fucking retarded, what it is that I don't get? Because, John, you get very upset when I don't agree with your fucking stupid theories, like a drone shot a bullet or somebody was firing out of the first floor of the AGR building. I don't understand why. Cullen hasn't called me where I could explain to him that we're looking at an MPEG encoded video. Maybe it was encoded by our friend, the professional moron, Samir. Maybe he doesn't understand what he's doing, and when he took a 240 frame per second video and made it into 20 frames per second, some parameter he had set in the software codec that he was using caused it to create a temporal error and display 1 frame out of time. That can happen. I've seen it happen in other videos. High speed, high contrast items are improperly represented. They fool the video compression algorithm. It doesn't work 100% perfectly 100% of the time. That's how I explain it. If somebody has a better explanation than that, I'd like to hear it. It's not John Cullen repeating for a week, it seems to be moving in reverse. That's stupidity. Why are you doing that, John? I don't understand it. I don't like all these guys rolling around playing ABBA, trying to monetize the video. It's craziness here in New York City. But the point is, if we could get to that original 240 frame per second video, I think you'd see very clearly 3 sequential frames of a projectile moving towards Charlie, followed by a frame of his head jolted forward. We don't see in that high speed, short exposure time, 240 frame per second video, we do not see this, extreme cavitation that the UVU review camera on the long telephoto lens using small aperture and longer exposure time, we don't see what's been misinterpreted as cavitation. We don't see that. Why would we see it from one angle and not another? What's the scientific explanation for that? We could ask the guy driving the McLaren. He obviously knows something that I don't know. I have a Ford. Maybe he doesn't know about cavitation and video frame rates and exposure time. See, it's another reason why Gary is such a stupid idiot, because he doesn't have the tools to solve something like this. I was going to give him an opportunity to refute whatever it is I'm saying, and the truth is, I wasn't even going to approach it in an antagonistic manner. Of course, it was going to be adversarial, but, I've now had opportunity to be in court a lot. And I've actually only once experienced the adversarial process in a professional way, and it was quite pleasant. What I mean exactly is, most of the time when I'm in court pro se, it's against George and his mentally ill brother, or people that they represent or are connected to, or in some way peripherally sort of like apparatchiks for. And I'm very personally involved in that because these people have been trying to ruin my life for 9 years by suing me and making it impossible for me to earn a living, destroying my social media channels, draining me of money. And so I get very upset. When I sued the Allegheny County Medical Examiner's Office, which, by the way, that case is not over. We're still waiting for a final determination from the judge. But there, I was suing the Medical Examiner's Office, trying to compel them to present evidence that would help us understand how they identified Thomas Crooks on the roof. Because I don't think they have that evidence. But I don't have any kind of personal beef with the woman who is the lawyer who represents the Medical Examiner's Office. And when I would see her in court in the morning, she was polite and she would say hello. When the judge walked in and we started arguing, she's fighting for the Medical Examiner's Office. I'm fighting for the people of the United States of America who want to know how the hell these people decided it was Thomas Crooks when there's a lot of evidence that it wasn't. But I'm not personally invested in that, particularly not by the time it came to court, because even Donald Trump doesn't seem to care. So you know what, if we never find out in that case, I did what I could do. By the way, I couldn't do it without the people who sponsor the show by subscribing to me when they follow on X at JG_CSTT, or by going to subscribestar.com or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, sponsor there, or by going to crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com. Now, I don't know if I finished explaining what's going to happen with this bounty at the end of 30 days. So, at the end of 30 days, if you decide that you want to put your money behind this bounty to try to find evidence that's better than the evidence that I'm presenting, and that is the goal. If someone can refute what I'm saying with better evidence, they will take this payment as if I were J. Jonah Jameson trying to hire someone to take pictures of Spider-Man. You know, if the Human Torch got involved in that contest and got better photos of Spider-Man than Peter Parker could, he would get the $500 from J. Jonah Jameson. But in this case, however big that pot of money becomes from people who are watching right now who decide to go to paypal.me/crowdsourcethetruth and pay any amount they want, at the end of 30 days, if someone has provided better evidence and refuted my empirical analysis, they're going to get all the money, including my 1,000. It's at least 1,000. If nobody puts any money in, you'll get 1,000. If somebody puts $100,000 in there, you're going to get it all. Look at that. Is that a GTR? What is that? It is a Japanese one. GTR? Old school GTR. That's cool, man. That's really cool. Wow. 90s Japanese street racer. So yeah, you will scoop the bounty. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, Jason's not going to want to give somebody thousands of dollars even if he's proven wrong. Well, that's why we're going to use PayPal, because when you put your money in there, it's my commitment that on November 4th, 30 days from now, either someone will win it or I keep it. If no one can disprove this and no one can present better evidence, I keep the money. So if you are someone who wants to goose the bounty, just know that that's going to happen. And if you're not if you change your mind, but if you decide that someone else has refuted and I refuse to acknowledge that, you'll be able to challenge it with PayPal. Third-party arbitration right there. I think that's a good idea. So feel free to join in this 30-day, $1,000 challenge for a bounty. Put in any amount of money that you feel is appropriate to it. You're not going to give these guys tickets for riding bicycles on the sidewalk? Useless. Any amount of money that you feel is appropriate to motivate someone to come up with a scientifically measurable hypothesis that can disprove mine, please go to paypal.me/crowdsourcethetruth. You're literally why do those people always have the worst PA systems? But you are literally funding a crowdsource investigation. So again, this is not a sweepstakes. There is no guaranteed winner. This is not a bet. How do people like Tron movies? I guess it just went away. The last one sucked. There it is. Crowdsourced journalism. You have an opportunity to fund it. So we're going to try to find out what's going on. And Samir is not off the hook. I have a feeling he's in trouble. I'm not threatening him. I'm just saying I'm going to use the law to its full extent People have seen the types of things I do. I've sued the city of New York. I've sued the NYPD. I could sue a university in Utah without even breaking a sweat. Now, is he an employee of the university? Got a lot of annoying sound amplification happening today.
You can't walk on.
Oh, this place went out of business. Wasn't this some kind of Mercedes hat store? Who would have expected that? We're in the very last days. Well, actually, summer is over. It's October already, but I guess it's an Indian summer because it's pretty hot today. Charles would have a comment about this guy. Maybe a lack of authenticity. That's how I feel about Samir. He lacks authenticity. He appears to have materially misrepresented a factual claim to induce me into sending him money. And I'm not an attorney, and this is not legal advice, but I do believe that that is fraud. And doing it over email from another state, I believe, makes it interstate commerce fraud, wire fraud, and maybe a couple of other things. And if he's transacting with government documents that are owned by the university as an employee of the university, I think he's got a lot of trouble. So we'll see where that all goes. I'm basically just rolling now so that I don't get assaulted over here. A lot of things going on. Everybody's having a wonderful day, except for Samir. He may have just made the biggest mistake of his life. Why would you involve yourself in something like this? This is a capital crime. It's a murder. I don't know if he's directly involved in that, but if he's doing things to misrepresent evidence, is there a prosecutor out there who can answer that question? It doesn't seem like something you should get yourself involved in. Again, not legal advice. That's just my opinion. I don't get this guy. He's really not my kind of guy. I'm running out of gas. That's all I have to say about this. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for sponsoring the show on subscribestar.com and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. If you haven't seen my appearance on Redacted, just go onto YouTube or X or wherever and look up Redacted. They've been playing it a lot. Thanks again to Clayton and Natalie for having me on. I really do appreciate it. You can also sponsor my show by going to crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com. And if you think that this is important research and you want to see it continue, let's increase the bounty. Go to paypal.me/crowdsourcethetruth. Leave a note on there that says this is for the Crowdsource bounty, the $1,000 30-day challenge. And that'll lock in an agreement between you and I that I will honor my commitment. If somebody comes forward with scientifically derived empirical evidence, measurable, repeatable, and they can disprove my hypothesis that Charlie Kirk was shot from behind by an approximately .50 caliber projectile from something like, if not exactly, a pre-charged pneumatic pistol or rifle, and he's shot from behind, then you're going to win the bounty. You will receive the payment. Just like Spider-Man in the pictures, you know, Peter Parker gets paid when he gets action photos of Spider-Man by the Daily Bugle. It's a call for information. And by the way, if you know news photographers in the Salt Lake City area, particularly if you know any who were at that event that day, and if you know the guy who is seen taking photographs across the way, ask that guy if he'll send us the high-resolution photograph. If Samir isn't lying, we should see him in that photo, operating some kind of phone horizontally for the first time apparently in his life, and I'll again be proven wrong. That won't disprove that Charlie was shot from behind, but it will disprove what Samir is saying, that he shot the video. That's not subject to a bounty, but it is a darn interesting thing to find out. The bounty is specifically to disprove my theory. My claim is that no expert in any field can disprove the fundamental claim that Charlie Kirk was shot from behind by approximately 50 caliber round at approximately 500 feet per second, and that causes me to believe that the products I see in the marketplace in 2025 are pre-charged pneumatic rifles and pre-charged pneumatic pistols, most probably this B&W M50 or some sort of custom-made device based on that. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.